All right, let's go over a progression to the isometric hamstring activation that we just performed. The next phase is then to dynamically load the hamstrings. A great way, obviously, you can sit and do some hamstring curls on machines. It's a great way to isolate it. Some people talk bad about some isolated leg strengthening exercises in the gym because it's not functional. That is true, it's not functional, but if you do have some isolated weakness, I think it's very important to do some isolated strengthening and not just functional training, meaning you're not just going to go do lunges and deadlifts and diagonal movements if you have a specific area of weakness, because often your body will just train past that and not really overload and adapt and strengthen the weak areas. So sometimes we have to really tease out the weakness and train it. So if you find that your hamstrings are weak during a hamstring curl, you're not able to do much weight compared to your knee extension, or if you just have knee pain in general, it's super important to do some isolated strengthening there. And this is a great way as well. Using a Swiss ball, you can do it in the comfort of your home. So you'll pop down on the ground, and there's 3 parts I like to train because your hamstrings do multiple of things. So first, you want your ankles kind of right at the apex of that ball there, so your feet are kind of hanging over it, okay? Same thing with the isometric curl. You're gonna have your feet, your knees, and your hips in line. You're not twisting out, you're not buckling in, just straight up towards the sky. Head's back, big diaphragmatic breath, core's engaged, and then from here, I don't want you to overly contract your glute. I just want you to gently pull, so dig your heels down and lift your hips up. You're gonna really, or you should feel this through the hamstrings as well. And slowly, you're just pausing at the top, slowly come down. So you're working through the hamstrings to extend the hip up, keeping that pelvis stable. You'll run through about 10 or so of those, okay? Quick breather. Phase 2, you're gonna pull up again, okay? Keeping that core engaged. You're not overly extending and using your back too much. It's just keeping a nice neutral position for your spine. And then slowly, what we're gonna do, keeping that pressure down against the ball, you're pulling your heels in towards your butt. Notice this is not dropping. The whole time you're keeping your butt right where it's at. So you're not letting this happen, you're not bridging up, you're just slowly curling. And what that's doing is maintaining tension through that posterior side and slowly coming out. You should feel a lot of tension in the backs of your knees and stuff there, okay? Rest it after you get to fatigue there. Next step in progression would be a curl up while you do it. So, same thing, you're lifting. This time, you're not flexing your hips at all. You're keeping your hips up kind of like a bridge or a hip thruster exercise, okay? From here, you're keeping those hips up, curling, and slowly coming back. Make sure you don't break here at your hips. Keep them up and slowly come out. I like these to be a slow, controlled exercise at first. As you get the form down, then you can add some speed. You should feel it burn just after a few reps because there's a lot of time under tension. So those are the 3. Hip extension, bringing the knees in, so tuck in, and then bridge with the hamstring curl, all the while keeping core engaged. Okay? Try those out. I would run 3 times through that, 10 each, so it's 30 reps in one round. Should be a pretty good killer. I would add that to any kind of deadlift or other movements because you're tying in the hamstrings with your core and your glutes. Super functional way to get your hamstrings working. I should say it's isolated, but it's a functional pattern because you're training your hamstrings and your glutes together, which is awesome. So try it out. Let me know if you have any questions.